guys remain seated for us a little bit longer, but I think response and freedom would be pretty good for this. So the first part of the verse, and then you guys read the second part of the verse. We'll go back and forth like that in each verse. So Proverbs chapter 11, verse 12, starting there to 23. And then let's go ahead and start. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor. A talebearer revealeth secrets. Where no counsel is, the people fall. He that is surety for a stranger shall smart for it. A gracious woman retaineth honor. The merciful man doeth good to his own soul. The wicked worketh a deceitful work. As righteousness tendeth to life, they that are of a froward heart are an abomination to the Lord. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, the desire of the righteous is only good. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this passage. Thank you for the opportunity to consider your word, Lord, the importance of being made in balance with you, Lord. And I just pray that you'll just help us understand the importance of being balanced in our words. Lord, I just pray that you'll just help us not to be found wanting with our words, especially as it regards to each other, in the things that we share and our confidence in. Lord, I just pray that you'll just be with us, and just I pray. Amen. All right, so Proverbs chapter 11, the last, if you've been following over, I don't know, last year or so since I've been in here previously. But we're talking about chapter 11 is about false balances. You know, chapter 10, well, you know, all the way up to chapter 9 usually is pretty easy to follow. It's understandable. But then chapter 10, it starts with your individual proverbs. Usually you take them one at a time and you're piecemealing them. You're chewing them over each day and you're thinking, what's this individual proverb about? And because remember what we talked about Proverbs is that they are little sentences that can be applied to different aspects of life. Just in general, they could be pieced there. They can be taken as a single sentence, as a phrase, or they can be taken as a whole, as the chapter deals with each subject. There's a whole subject, overall theme for each chapter. Sometimes as you get in chapter 10, all the way down, the theme is not always apparent, but there's a theme for each chapter of these Proverbs that you can take as a whole and you can take individually because they're all very succinct. And we also talked about how that Proverbs are those things that are, that they are basically, they take a whole concept and they boil them down to its shortest thing, the smallest thing, the most common denominator is what the word is, I guess, is that, you know, when you have these math things, you got to say, okay, let's get the common denominator. What's common among this whole thing, this whole idea? Well, let's boil it down. Of course, we understand that the common denominator of all this is the nature of wisdom, and we talked about wisdom in chapter 1, the wisdom of building things up and then breaking it down into its components. And these proverbs are basically the components of wisdom. We talked about previously how that wisdom is the law of nature personified. It is nature's nature is undergirded with wisdom. When God created things, nature was there in the beginning with Him in this creation. It is basically when He holds things together. It is by the law of nature. If you learn nature, I mean not the law of nature, but the law of wisdom. If you learn wisdom, then you're going to learn how nature works. They go hand in hand. Wisdom undergirds and is the foundation to all things good, very good that God created. And so that's what we're focusing on here. Remember, chapter 10 was about the law of the harvest, being able to harvest things, being a wise son, being in summer, you're attuned to harvest, You're preparing for harvest. You're living your life with the concept of harvest. You know, the farmer doesn't just wake up one day and there's a giant bountiful harvest. You know, the Christian doesn't just wake up one day and the fields are white on the harvest. There is a foundation that is built to make that harvest a reality. And living a life of reality for the harvest is what chapter 10 was all about. And then chapter 11 is about being in balance with God. We see that in chapter 11, the very first verse. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So if we're in balance with God, then we're going to be delighting God. It's just going to become natural. If you're in balance with God, you're going to become natural. A lot of times people talk about yin and yang, good and evil being in balance. No, that's not what the Christian cares about. We don't want evil to have anything. We don't want Satan to have anything. We don't want sin to have any root in our lives. And this whole idea of good needing evil is not really what we need. Human beings need to be in balance with God. And if you're in balance with God, you'll then naturally be in balance with nature. And if you are in balance with nature, things will typically work for you. And if you're in balance with God, then you will have the ability to produce a harvest. So we see in chapter 10, it's talking more of the practical things on how to produce a harvest. If somebody was just a farmer, they could take chapter 10 and learn how to be a diligent, productive farmer, and they get grain and seed every year, and they learn how to do those things, they move on. But we remember what Jesus was talking about Proverbs in his parables. He says that basically those who want more are going to get more. And so if you want to just be a farmer and get a harvest, then you're just going to take the surface level of chapter 10. Oh yeah, wonderful. But then chapter 11 is going to tell you how to be in balance with God so that you can naturally get just as the principles for the harvest can get you a farmer a crop, so too you can get a harvest in the spiritual world as well. So you got the physical and then you got the spiritual. If you're in a false balance, you're never going to be a wise son who is ready for the harvest. You're always going to be hindering the harvest process. You're going to be hindering that. So we looked at the first part there about being in balance with God, the first few chapters, and then we talked about the question of, are you righteous or are you wicked? Now, most Christians would generally say, I'm righteous, I'm righteous, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm saved, I'm a Christian, but they're not in balance with God because they got a little Jesus sprinkled into them, and maybe they are saved, maybe they are a Christian, but they never formatted their life in preparation for the harvest. They're just kind of living life as a Christian, and oh, by the way, I got this free ticket to heaven, and don't bother me with anything else, I'm enjoying my life. But to be in balance with God, you're going to be being washed constantly by the water of the Word, and when that water is on that seed is naturally going to grow. If you're not going to, seeds, you can have a seed in your heart, salvation maybe, but if it's never watered by the washing of the water of the Word, you're never going to grow anything. It's going to lay dormant. They had these seeds in like a tomb someplace, like a palm seed that became extinct, and that seed lay dormant in that tomb for 2,000 years. They brought it out, they put some water on that thing and started to grow. The seed was dormant. There was, it had seeds, the tomb had seeds in it, but it was dead. It was a whited sepulcher. There was nothing going on there. The seed was in the ground, the seed was in the vessel, but there was nothing going on with it. So too it is like a lot of Christians. The seed's in there, but it's not balanced with the water of the Word. The seed without the Word doesn't do anything, right? And so too it is faith without works is what? Dead. It's dormant. It doesn't do anything. So if your faith is not in balance with the Lord, then it's just going to be sitting there. It's not what seeds are supposed to do. Seeds are supposed to be preparing for water. They're supposed to be ready for the harvest. So if you as a Christian, you're saved, you have seeds ready to go, but you've not cast them forth, and you've not put water on them, you've not watered it with the water of the Word, you've not allowed the Spirit to take part in that seed, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there. And so we talked about that. How about about knowing how you're righteous and you're wicked? And are you, Christians in their soul may be righteous, but they are practically wicked in the way that they do things, the way that they live after the world rather than after God. And so we talked about that the last time we were in Proverbs. And so this passage here, we were talking about how that we can be righteous with our words at the end of the last last message, we talked about that, verse 11, chapter 11, it says, the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted. Everybody gets blessed if we are doing what's right, what's righteous. But it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. So our mouth is kind of where we left off last time, is the mouth of what we speak. We can speak, whether you're righteous or wicked, we talked about how that you can grow, in the previous passage, you can grow seeds of righteousness, or you can lend your farm to the seeds of wickedness. And whatever you water, whatever you spend time in, that is what's going to grow. And that is the seeds you're going to have at your harvest, is to sow seeds of righteousness or seeds of wickedness. Anybody can do that, whether you're a Christian, whether an unbeliever who's morally good can raise good children who will be led to the Lord. A believer who is a hypocrite can destroy his family and can hurt his neighbor. Remember that previous verse there, verse 9, a hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. So we see here that if you are a Christian at church, but then you're hypocritically not a Christian at home, then you're going to destroy your family, you're going to destroy your neighbors. You get that dog on my lawn, whatever, curses. You preach curses to your neighbor, the dog, or whatever. But we understand that as Christians, we need to not be void of wisdom. If you're void of wisdom, you'll despise your neighbor. You're not going to be a help to your neighbor. What's James always talking about? If you have faith, but not works, then what good does it do to your neighbor? You're despising your neighbor. You're not being a benefit to your neighbor. You may have all the salvation you need, but will it get your neighbor to heaven? My salvation get me to heaven. Well, the Lord's salvation, if I'm in Christ, I go to heaven. But if I'm not in my neighbor, my words in his ears that are through grace, then what does that benefit him? It doesn't. I despise my neighbor by withholding the righteous seed. So we see, he that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. So I see something that I don't like. I'm tempted to act out in the spirit or the flesh, and then I need to withhold that. I need to hold that flesh back, right? The flesh is like a dog on a leash, right? It'll only do what its master tells it to do. If you're a lazy master, that dog will just go crazy. But if you restrain it, if you train it, then it will do as the Spirit leads. And so too is he that is void of wisdom lets his dog run rampant around the neighborhood, upsetting everybody. Are you your dog? No, but you're responsible for it. But a man of understanding holdeth his peace. So we see here that wisdom, that principle that undergirds everything. If we have wisdom, we will honor it, we will be a blessing to our neighbor. But if we don't have it, we will despise our neighbor. A man of understanding holdeth his peace. But a person who is in the flesh is going to reveal secrets, a talebearer. So a Christian who is righteous is going to withhold their peace. I saw something my neighbor did, or I saw something the Christian did, and I'm going to tell somebody about it. Are you telling them to help them, or are you telling them to hurt them? Or are you telling them to get a story out? Go to me, I got all the gossip, I got all the sweet juicy details, No. And a lot of this, and you'll see as we go, that this next section is about being a gossip. It's about being a gossip in a sense. It's that if you're void of wisdom, you're just going to spread around everything that you see and everything that you hear, everything that you do. You're going to be spreading around the wrong seeds. And those seeds will eventually bring forth a harvest. But a man of understanding holdeth his peace. Hey, that's not the seeds that I want. Remember what we talked about, that the storehouse of seeds that we have, that we're collecting all sorts of seeds around us. We got righteous seed, we got wicked seed, and it's going into our storehouse, chapter 10. It's going to our storehouse, but we have the choice, we have the option. Just because we were given those seeds doesn't mean that we have to cast them forth again. We can restrain, we can hold those pieces of seeds back, we can hold those back and only give out the good seed. We have that choice, we have that option as Christians. The righteous give forth only good seed. They're quality control. How often do people that are void of wisdom, they have a bad day, everybody else then will have a bad day? But how about if you have a bad day, everybody else have a good day? Just because you're having a bad day or a rough day doesn't mean that everybody else has to suffer for it. You have to hold your peace. You have to restrain yourself. You have to restrain that flesh. A talebearer, somebody who bears the wrong type of seeds, a tale, what is a tale to be told? It's something that's interesting. Everybody wants to hear it. It's embellished. You know, you hear about all those Greek tales, and nothing's really truly, it might be true. There might have been a guy named Hercules. There might have been a guy named some other Greek name or whatever, you know. And there's even like Alexander the Great, but then the stories that are told are tales. Why? Because they present something interesting, but may not be true. It may not be true. So too it is with gossip. It's something that we heard, we haven't verified, and we're sharing it just to share a tale, a story, something interesting. Oh, it's an interesting tale. And then it gets embellished. A talebearer revealeth secrets. Oh, I got a secret to tell. Have you heard about those type of people who they always give out everything that they've received? Remember, we got to restrain, we got to hold back. The wisdom tells us to hold back the bad seed and only give the good seed. But what does the talebearer do? Embellishes that seed. It adds some nutrients to it. Give it a boost of power. Give it to get it going. And then when you have a tale, you know, how often does the viral tale, you know, especially online, it gets around, you hear a story, and then that gets embellished by another person, somebody receives that, gives it out something more, and embellishes it, and adds to it. Despiseth the neighbor, but a man of a peace. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Well, I'm not going to hide anything from anybody. You know, I'm just going to tell it like it is. No, that's not wise. That's not wise. You don't need to tell it like it is. Well, I don't want to be accused of hiding anything. Well, you're not hiding anything. You don't know if it's true or not. There's no reason for you to share it. You know what they say is you got to, we're going to look at it here, a multitude of counselors. There's a need for when you have a problem in your life to share it, but you need to be careful with whom you share it because we cannot be revealing secrets just left and right. People are flawed human beings. They're dealing with things in life that if they go to you with a secret, it's because they need some help. They need some compassion. They need some care. They don't need you to be sharing information. It's not the right time. I'm thinking about Mary in her life. She had a pretty good, cool secret, right? Mary, the mother of Jesus, she had a pretty cool secret. Angel shows up. Hey, Mary. Hail Mary, full of favor and grace and all this wonderful stuff. And you're totally awesome, Mary, and Jesus wants to use you. Oh, okay, I'm going to go tell everybody. Jesus wants to use me. No, she held her peace. You think about this in Luke chapter 2, verse 8. Here's what I got, a secret from the Lord and stuff. But she didn't share that. She pondered it in her heart. Why? Why did she do that? Why didn't she go around saying, I am carrying the Savior of the world? Why did she only share it with Elizabeth? Why did she give confidence to Elizabeth? Because Elizabeth was in with that as well. But there was a reason why she held her peace. John chapter 7 verse 8 says, Go ye up into this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. When he was at that feast, and Mary asked, Hey, Jesus, can you turn the water into wine? She already knew what Jesus could do. She already knew that Jesus was going to be the Savior of the world. She already knew all these things. At her birth, the shepherds came rejoicing and everything. She held her peace. And she withheld that. She pondered it in her heart. She considered, how am I going to raise this child? How am I going to raise him? When he was 12 years old, and he went and discussed things with the priests and the scribes and everybody, and they're like, wow, this is an amazing person. She didn't go out and say, well, this is the Savior of the world. Everybody worship him. It's why? Because time not yet come. He was not going to be revealed to Israel until he was 30. Just think you have to keep a secret for 30 years. Us guys, I don't think we could do it. Ladies, Miss Mary can do it. She did it. But it was because it was not yet full come. There's reasons why we need to hold our peace. Because it's not yet full come. It's not ready for that person to share that secret. That's not your secret to share. It wasn't Mary's secret to share the revelation of Jesus. It was Jesus' manifestation to show. My time is not yet full come. But yet, she did what she could. She says, hey, whatever he says to do, do it. She doesn't go, Jesus, Savior of the world. He's going to change whiter and white for this wedding. Nah, she didn't say any of that stuff. She held her peace. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. She concealed it. It wasn't her secret to share. There are secrets that you're going to hear that are not yours to share. Don't share them. When the time comes, and if you give God the counsel, you'll advise that person, you share this. You bring that before the church. You take that to them. You take it to the pastor. You do those things. I don't want to be sharing something that I'm not allowed to share. Where no counsel is, the people fall. It's the spirit concealeth the matter. The spirit concealeth the matter. So remember, the flesh is the one that revealeth secrets, but the spirit concealeth the matter. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but the multitude of counselors, there is safety. There is a need to share secrets to help that individual. But you don't want to share that because that person needs multitude of counselors so that they won't fall. They will know the right direction to go. They need the pastor's advice. They need that godly woman's advice. They need to come to you in confidence. They need to be able to be that person that comes to you in confidence. But if you share it with somebody else, they're going to be hurt by it and not helped. It says here, where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So we have a multitude of counselors sharing and helping this individual, but none of them are sharing the tale. None of them are, so-and-so came to me with that same secret. Let's share and discuss it among ourselves. No, we're discussing it with the individual who needs the confidence, but we're not sharing it among the counselors. You see that? Counselors aren't getting together and saying, hey, let's discuss so-and-so's issue there. They're not doing that. So when we're going together for prayer, we need to be careful. Are we getting together as counselors to share everybody's issues, or are we giving advice to that individual individually and keeping the confidence? So we as talebearers, we as people who are praying for each other, realize that the person may go to multiple people for counsel, but those 3 or 4 people need to keep it private amongst themselves and not discuss it, unless that individual eventually brings it forward themselves. And a talebearer reveals secrets, but he that is a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. It's safe for them to go to multiple people because they need to get this fixed. They have an issue. It's not for a story or a tale to be told. Where no counsel is, the people fall. He that is a surety for a stranger shall smart for it. When you're getting advice, don't go to strangers. If you know so-and-so can't keep a secret, don't go to them for advice unless you want it shared. For people who can't keep secrets, don't be a surety. The surety here is not for debts. The surety here is the commodity is secrets. The commodity is secrets. Remember from the previous verse, the suretyship there is not for debts. The Proverbs can apply for that, but as the whole context is for secrets. If you're dealing in secrets, your counselor, or your therapist, or your pastor, or preacher, you need to hold those in confidence. You cannot share those in any capacity, because you're a surety for that person. You're a surety for that individual. You're giving them advice. You're giving them wisdom. You're helping them through their process, and that is not to be given out. You're a surety. You're a protection for them. If something comes along and that person needs help, so what's a surety in a bank situation? Where, I want to get $1,000 loan, but I don't have the credit. I say, hey, I will be a surety for this person. If this person cannot pay $1,000 back, I will pay it on his behalf. Somebody who is in a surety for secrets, I have this secret, I have this issue that I'm working through, and I don't want anybody to know about it, but I want to come to you in case, because I can't help in this situation. I want you to come alongside me and help me in this situation. And so when there's a multitude of counselors, that's helpful. But notice here it says, he that is a surety for a stranger shall smart for it, and he that hateth surety is sure. Don't receive that secret unless it's either, first of all, you can help in the situation, and don't just be sharing secrets. It says, if you hate it, don't be eager for the secret. Don't be eager to hit that confidence. If you can't help in that confidence, hey, hold on. I know you're going to discuss something that's close to your heart, but I don't think I can help you. Can you go to the pastor for that? You need to hate suretyship. So if you can't help in that situation to be a counselor, what does it say? Hate it. Don't try to go, oh, I know that secret, but I can't help you, sorry. Now you're a surety for their confidence, but you can't help resolve it. And now you're stuck with the secret that does you no benefit, does them no benefit. So if you hear somebody's wanting to come to you for counsel, but you know you can't help in the situation, hey, here's a better counselor for you. Here's somebody who is set up for you. If somebody came to you, they say, hey, I don't have $1,000, I'm going to borrow $1,000 from Joe, and Frank has $1,000, and Frank says, hey, if you can't pay that back to Joe, Frank, I will pay Joe. So what's happening here? He's assured. He's saying, I have the ability to help pay that back and to make sure that you have the confidence of $1,000. But what happens is, if I don't have $1,000, and then you borrow from Frank, and Frank says, hey, here's $1,000. Now you can't pay it back, and I said I was going to be a surety. Now what's going to happen? Now both of us don't have $1,000. Well, he does, but he's not giving it back, and now Frank and I are out of commission here. And what happened? I had this debt that wasn't mine. What's with secrets? Now I have the secret that's not mine, then now I'm on the hook for it. Now everybody hates me because I didn't help in that situation, and now I know about it, and now the pastor knows my secret, and now I can't do anything because now everybody hates me. Why? Because I have that secret, and I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't help him, and now I'm holding on to it, and that person doesn't want me to know. And oh no, and especially as pastors, that's the hardest thing. Is if you have a secret as a pastor and you can't do anything with it, you can't help it. Now, and then any message you preach from the Bible, that person thinks I preached about them, but I didn't. Now what happens? That person hates me, and that person hates me because I have this secret. So hate suretyship. Don't be eager to hear everything. Don't be eager to hear every matter. Notice this, verse 16, a gracious woman restraineth honor, and a strong man riches. And a strong man riches. Now in this verse here, it's going on deep, so we understand the basic of this idea is that in secrets, don't be eager to share the secrets that you are a surety for, and only be a surety for those secrets that you know you can be a help in, that you can give proper advice to, that you can give a confidence in. And then a gracious woman restraineth honor. You need to be an honorable woman. You need to be honorable in that sense that they come to you with a secret. You're going to hold back. Just like a strong man holds riches. I'm holding this riches real tight. If you're walking through the marketplace, or you know where there's a bunch of thieves that are going to mug you, what's a strong man going to do? He's going to hold on to his briefcase with the handcuffs to it, the military secrets or whatever. They're going to attach that to a strong man and a bunch of strong people around him, and they're going to be holding on to those secrets. They're going to be walking around, and what are they going to do? Thieves over there are going to hold on to this. You got to restrain your honor. In other words, if you were given a secret, an honorable thing to do is to hold on to that the best you can. Nobody's going to hear this secret. I'm going to be a surety for it. It's not going to come out. Not even a part. Hey, I'll get $50. I'll tell this, but I'll remove the names. I'll tell the story, but I'll remove the names. No, it's none of that stuff. I'll give you the nuclear codes, but I'll leave off one digit. It's not a good idea. You're like a strong man. A woman who restrains honor, a man who restrains honor of that secret is going to protect it the best they can. That's what a gracious woman, somebody with grace, the grace of God, somebody who has a secret is being gracious enough to help you with that secret. That counselor is going to hold the best at their ability in honor. As a strong man retains riches, so too that woman's going to retain that secret to the best of her ability. She's not going to share it as a prayer request. She's not going to share it as a tidbit here and there. Oh, you got to draw it out. She's not going to retain it as a whale. She's going to retain it like a strong man holds on to his riches. You've seen some strong men; they don't want to give away the riches for nothing. A merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. You got to be merciful. Oh, I can't believe they had that secret. I thought Chad was such a great Christian. But he has that secret, and he confided in me. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to, but I'm going to be merciful. Oh, I'll applaud him in being just like Chad. He got the secret. I'm going to help him with it. I'm not going to tell anybody else. I'm going to have mercy on him. This really deserves to come out. This really needs to be told to somebody because he needs to be corrected. He needs to be punished, but I'm going to have some mercy. Obviously, if it's criminal, sorry, Chad, I'm going to call the cops and sorry. But you shouldn't have shared me with that. Jail is what you need. That's going to be helping you with your secret. Cut the light. But a merciful man is going to do good to his own soul. If I'm merciful to that person, I give them my confidence, and I retain them honor, rather than them thinking I'm sharing it around, or they have a question, or I can't help them. I'm retaining that honor. Then what's going to happen? I'm going to do good to his own soul. I'm going to be that person. Oh, Pastor, get my confidence. Pastor, help me. And, I'm so now that person becomes loyal to their pastor. Now that person is gracious, and then what that pastor retains that honor, and that pastor is able to help that member, and they grow closer, and his family is growing better for it. So the merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. What is cruel? I take that secret, I spread it around. That's not doing anything good for anybody. It's not helping with the situation. And not only do I not able to help such a situation, is that I'm being cruel to everybody that hears it. That person now has to keep that confidence. They have, third or fourth confidence keeping is not what you're supposed to be doing. And, I know the secret about Chad, but he never confided in me, so I got to act like I can't, that I don't know it. I don't know Chad, but I'm just going to pretend that I don't know the secret, but I do, and so I'm going to be looking like this at Chad. It's like I don't know. It's like, oh yes, you're a wonderful man, Chad, but I got the secret, and I don't know if the secret's been resolved, or if it was something that happened 2 years ago, or whatever happened with it, because I'm not in the loop. I just heard it secondhand, and now I got the secret that maybe 3 or 4 months ago Chad resolved it, and it's all good, and it's not a problem to anybody, but now I'm still looking, I don't know. I'm going to have to leave. I don't want to be around this guy because I heard the secret, and I don't know if he's ever taken care of it. I think he's just living a lie. And now I'm living a lie when Chad's not, even though I think Chad's living a lie. What's happening there? A bunch of drama. What is that? That's cruel. That's cruel. Deceitful work, but him that soweth righteousness and it troubleth his own flesh. Notice it is in the flesh. The merciful man, it's helping his soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. Everybody around him. The wicked worketh a deceitful work. Not only do people share it because they want to tell a tale, but they want to hurt. I'm being cruel to Chad here. Is that now I want to hurt Chad. I heard a story about Chad. I don't like Chad, so I'm going to be spreading this around. Did you hear that Chad is? I'm going to be acting all innocent, and I'm more blameless, just like Samson in these stories we're going to hear from Pastor here soon. Is that no, I shall be more blameless than the Philistines. What's that arrogancy, right? But anyway, so he's looking for an occasion to judge them and all this stuff, and I'm going to be more blameless. But the wicked worketh a deceitful work. I'm going to take that secret, and rather than helping, rather than restraining it, rather than I'm going to be not only just sharing it. A lot of times secrets get out because it's just people love to tell stories. They don't mean any harm by it. They just heard a secret and they want to share it. And everybody wants to hear the gossip. But the cruel person takes it and then says, how can I hurt this person? How can I use this as a commodity? How can I use this to gain interest? How can I use this to destroy this person? Rather, the true Christian, somebody who is filled with wisdom and holds their peace and things, and wants to be a true counselor, is going to do it, going to hear that secret so that they can help and restore and confide. But the person who is cruel and the person who is wicked is going to take it so that they can hurt and cast down and torture and manipulate, gaslight. As the righteous tendeth to him that soweth righteousness, so the wicked worketh deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness, remember retaining, holding the bad seed back so that you can get the good seed. You're now sowing good seed into the situation. You're sowing righteousness into the situation to help the person. Shall be a sure reward. You'll be rewarded by the Lord by holding on to that. As righteous tendeth to life, we who are counselors for goodness and righteousness, we're going to tend life. What does the person who tends to life, or a shepherd tends to a sheep, is to help them. If the sheep have sickness, they're going to pour ointment on their head. If the sheep is going to do something, wander off, they're going to go and get it. They're tending to their livestock. They're tending to their livelihood. They're tending to life. You need to protect that person. The wicked doeth deceitful work, but him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. As righteousness tendeth to life, he that pursueth evil pursueth it to his own death. If you start playing this game, the Lord says, hey, it's going to be for your own death. It's going to cause your death. And you're either going to lose your harvest, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your livelihood, you're going to lose your life. Why? Because you did not deal in that commodity of secrets properly. You were wicked in the way that you handled them. You were unrighteousness, or at the very least, you were void of wisdom. You were not careful in how you shared that information. They that are of forward heart are an abomination to the Lord. Now, this is important. What's forward? Remember that we talked about that before? It's forward means to look from, to turn or look from. It means perverse. You know what's right, and then you pervert it. Turning from with aversion or reluctance, not willing to yield or comply with what is required. What is required to keep that secret? What is required? If you're not doing what's required to keep that secret, and you don't hate it, and you're sharing these, then you're not doing it, God says that's abomination. If you're unyielding, ungovernable, refractory, disobedient, peevish, or as a forward child, this is a very forward generation, children in whom there is no faith, they're void of wisdom, they share whatever they hear. What's peevish? That definition, it says that you're peevish if you're forward. Peevish means a fretful, pestilent, apt to mutter and complain, easily vexed or fretted, querulous, hard to please. She is peevish, sullen, forward, expressing discontent and fretfulness, or silly and childish. You hear something and you just become silly about it. You become dramatic about it. They that are of forward heart are abomination to the Lord. So not only if you got a stranger you're sharing a secret with, you got a wicked person you're sharing a secret with, and you got an honorable person you're sharing a secret with, and then now you have a forward person. There are a lot of forward people, a lot of Christians that are immature, that if they hear a secret, they're going to be very fretful about it. Rather than helping, oh, I can't believe Chad's like this. Chad, no, not Chad. What are they doing? They're being very forward in their actions. They cannot comprehend that people are flawed. They cannot comprehend that people need help and that they need to share secrets. Oh, why is he this way? What are they going to take that secret and they're going to freak out about it? They're going to freak out about it rather than being honorable in the situation. Oh, it doesn't matter if that person's worse off than that person that they heard the secret from. It's just like nobody, people void of wisdom don't see their own flaws, but they freak out about everybody else's thing. What is that? The beam in your eye with the splinter? So you gotta be careful with that. The wicked worketh deceitful work. The day that are of an abomination to the Lord. So freaking out because you heard a secret about somebody is an abomination. Don't do it. Keep that secret. But such are upright in their ways are his delight. If you're upright and honorable, doing what is right, then you'll be delight. A forward man soweth strife. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 28. A forward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. You got to be careful with being forward, being freaking out every time you hear a secret. People are not perfect, they're flawed, and you need to restrain yourself. You need to hold yourself, hold your peace. Verse 12, hold your peace rather than freaking about out of every flawed human being secret you hear. It's going to be handled. People that are in council are going to handle it. You don't need to freak out about it. They that are forward heart are an abomination to the Lord, but such are upright in their ways are his delight. Be upright, hold your peace, you will delight the Lord in it. Though hand join in hand, a bunch of people get together, you see a bunch of people with pitchforks. Oh, Pastor, we don't like you no more, we hate you. You see a bunch of people going up to Moses. Moses, we don't like you, we're going to choose captives, we're going to go back to Egypt, and we love our leeks and our onions, and yeah, okay. And then God has to come down and save the situation, otherwise the whole camp would have been destroyed. Now, let's think that how God would have to come down and save a lot of churches, lest they be destroyed. Yeah. But though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. You think you're going to freak out and you're going to join hands with everybody? But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. It's a bad situation. Secrets are going around, gossip is flying. But if you're upright and if you're honorable, then you will be delivered. There will be deliverance for you. But if you're going to freak out, if you're going to share, you're going to be abusive, then there will be a punishment for you. It ends here as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman without discretion. Oh, she's a beautiful lady. She knows how to do her hair. She knows how to paint the barn, and she adorns herself so well. But if you go to her for counsel, 2 seconds later, she'll be on the phone, and she'll be, what? Then you're going to have a bitter look on your face. I can't believe that lady. I came to her in confidence. Oh, how could that be? I thought she was such a wonderful woman, and so beautiful, and so lovely. But, oh, she looks so ugly because I can't stand the fact that she told everybody about this situation I was dealing with. And 10 minutes later, I finally realized, oh, it's not as bad as I thought, and I got my proper counselor from somebody else, and this person spread it far and wide, and I already resolved the situation. And now, every time you look at that person, it's with bitterness, it's with ugliness in your heart. Why? Because there was no honor. There was no discretion. There was no discretion. So if you can't handle it, don't let the person tell you the secret. Or don't let the person go to you for counsel. Give somebody else the ability to do that. The desire of the righteous is only good. Remember, we're talking about, are you righteous or are you wicked? If your desire is only for good, if you're righteous, you're only going to be looking at them for good. The expectation of the wicked is wrath. If somebody goes to you and the only result they get is wrath, anger, malice, the works of the flesh, or if somebody goes to you, love, joy, peace, what is that? Is righteousness is only looking for the good in others. I know people's flaws. I know imperfections. I know them in myself. I know them in my church members. I know them in family members. But do I withhold that thing? There are things in my family that we complain to each other about. We're each other's counselors. But that's not for anybody else to hear. That is to hold our peace because we're dealing through things. We need sounding boards. We need help. We need a multitude of counselors to help us through these things. But if that's shared, it's going to hurt chief friends. It's going to hurt people. It's going to make us look ugly. So when we participate in gossip, whether it's as a prayer request or as an illustration, pastors are guilty of that. We're desperate for illustrations that we illustrate ourselves into trouble sometimes. We need to be careful. We need to always have our desire to be for righteousness to prevail. But the expectation of the wicked is wrath. If you are wicked in the way that you hold the secrets, expect wrath to come. Don't be surprised by it. So when you're sharing gossip, now you're on the hook for this. You're sharing gossip. You got to be careful because wrath will come your way if you don't hold it right. If you're not upright in the way that you share information, share it for good for the individual, and that individual is the only one to share it. You share with them good, godly advice, which would restrain that secret for nobody else. If for some reason, what does the Bible say if we have aught against a brother? If for some reason we are in this discussion, but we take two or more, and then go to that individual and say, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't keep your secret. I think there's a bigger concern here. I don't think I can keep your confidence here. I cannot be your surety. I hate this situation that you put me in. Now, sometimes you get into those secrets that the individual says, can you keep a secret? And you find that it's so egregious that, oh, I can't hold on to this. This is something desperate. You're not going to share it around, but your expectations for righteousness to prevail. And they don't want righteousness to prevail, but they want you to hear the secret. Now you're stuck with it. And what did the previous passages say? To go to your friend, chapter 6. My son, thou be a surety for thy friend, if thou be stricken by the hand with a stranger, if thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of a friend, go humble thyself and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, or slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, as a bird from the hand of the fowler. So we see here that surety, if we realize we can't pay this surety, if we made a mistake, I thought I could keep his confidence, I thought I could give him God and cancel, but I can't, and the situation is getting toxic, I need to go to my friend and say, hey, look, friend, I can't handle this situation, and you're making me in a bad situation here. I'm sorry, but for your own good, I would like you to share this with Pastor. I would like you to share this with 2 other people. I'm not going to them first. I'm going to you first because you're my friend. Can I bring these 2 people in? They can help you in this situation. I can't. And it's hurting my soul, and it's going to hurt you if we keep this secret. Can I bring them in? And if no, then I'm sorry, I can't do anything in this situation. And if it needs to accelerate to the authorities or anything like that, it has to happen, but you let that person know first because you were his surety. You were his friend, and because you cannot handle the situation, you're going to do the honorable thing and go to him first and say, hey, is there an option that we can go out? Because this will not remain secret. I cannot handle it, and it's going to come out, and I'd rather you manage it together with me. You see how that works? Be a surety for your friend. Go to him. Humble yourself. Be humble. Don't secretly go behind his back, even though you couldn't. I thought I could, but then I decided I'm going to get counsel from somebody else about our situation. No, it's his, but you got to go to him. Do the honorable thing. So be careful about sharing around people's secrets. You got to do the honorable thing. We want to tend to life. We as brothers and sisters in Christ are doing the ministry of Christ, and we are tenders of life. We are not those who seek wrath or anything like that. We don't want to join hand in hand. We want to go to them, do it properly. Do it as God has called us to do it. So with that, we'll end there. And just something to consider, when you hear a secret, are you sharing it? Are you using it as a tale to be told? Or is it somebody that you're going to hold your peace with and try to do their best to help them? All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this passage you gave to us, Lord. I pray that you'll help us understand the importance of being a surety for our friend, to be a true confidant, a confidant that can be a help to them and not a hurt, in honor, to bless them and tend to their life rather than to abuse and be cruel to them, Lord. Especially help us with these life situations.